This is video BICS and CALP. In this video, I will talk about a distinction made between social and academic language proposed by Canadian linguist Jim Cummins. This is the distinction between BICS and CALP. Basic interpersonal communication skills, or BICS, refers to children's ability to communicate about everyday subjects and needs. Educators have also called this playground language. This is language learned in highly contextualized settings. In other words, there are many clues to aid in comprehension, such as facial expressions, objects, familiar settings, and other background knowledge that children use to scaffold comprehension. Jim Cummins argued that BICS develop relatively quickly, in just 1 or 2 years. For this reason, English language learners may appear to be proficient in English because they speak fluently about everyday topics. BICS are characterized by the use of very familiar words, narrative, and listening and speaking. Jim Cummins contrasted this social language to a much larger body of language encountered in texts, lectures, classroom discussions, lab reports, and so on. This latter type of language knowledge he called Cognitive Academic Language Proficiency, or CALP. One important feature of CALP that distinguishes it from social language is that it tends to be highly abstract and often encountered with little in the way of context or clues. In other words, learners must rely on their knowledge of language in order to make meaning. CALP takes much longer to develop, in part because it develops slower, if at all, when students are not provided context to scaffold new language and content. It may also appear to develop slower simply because there is so much more academic language to learn. This is analogous to the image of an iceberg, often used in the field to illustrate the difference between BICS and CALP. On the surface, we encounter learners' social language, or BICS. Because this involves primarily listening and speaking, teachers mistakenly assume that BICS equates with children's abilities to accomplish grade-level academic work. A far bigger portion of language proficiency necessary to be successful academically lies beneath the surface where we can't see it. In order for children to participate successfully in grade-level work, they will need to develop a vast set of skills in reading and writing, accuracy in grammar and vocabulary, language functions around persuading, interpreting, hypothesizing, and others, and a huge number of word forms. Our job as teachers is to access this academic language and develop our students' proficiency with it. Now let's test your understanding of this video on BICS and CALP.